Hi, everyone. Thanks, Vito, for the introduction. We're really excited to have you here today for a conversation about scaling your agency the right way. So, we'll share tips on how to do this without burning out, overcomplicating your workflows, or sacrificing service quality. I know we have a lot of agency folks in the audience, so you want to stick around for the next little bit. I'm Svilena. I'm the head of partnerships at NitroPack, which is now proudly part of WP Engine. My goal is to have a holistic view of NitroPack's various partner channels and make sure our partners have the right tools for success. And with me is Jerry from AmericanEagle.com. Jerry is an agency leader who is not only familiar with the challenges that go with scaling an agency, but has successfully navigated them.
Thanks, Svilena. Scaling an agency is exciting, but also tricky. Today, we'll share real-world strategies and lessons, some wins, some fails, so you can grow smarter and faster.
And that's the goal of this session, to give you practical, actionable tips you can use right away. It doesn't matter if you're a solo consultant turning into an agency or running a 50-person team looking to scale further. You walk away with ideas to grow efficiently, retain high-value clients, and increase profitability. Also, make sure to stick around until the end when we'll answer some of your questions. And now, to give you an overview of what we'll be talking about today, we'll start with the three challenges that agencies most commonly fail when scaling. More importantly and interestingly, we'll give you some practical tips on how to navigate those. Then we'll hand the mic over to Jerry, who will share his experience and his point of view on what it took to scale AmericanEagle.com from a 10-person team to what it is today. Then we'll touch on some tools that will help you unlock similar growth, and we'll wrap things up with a Q&A. So before we dive into the challenges, these are some results achieved by one of Jerry's clients after migrating to WP Engine. So what they experienced is a 62% rise in ad conversions, a 47% increase in leads, a 35% boost in keyword rankings, and a 43% decrease in cost per lead. Who wouldn't want results like that? Jerry, can you tell us a little bit more about how you were able to deliver these results to your client?
Sure. Yeah. So this client, name of the client was Frontier Management. What they do is they manage senior living facilities for across the country. We redid their platform, a platform that manages multiple instances for local facilities. What we did is we redid the site on WordPress. We were looking at local SEO, performance, scalability. All those things were super important when we redid the site, looked at the user experience, and so it was a huge success. But a lot of it also boiled down to some of our partnerships that we had to make sure that the site was performant. So it was a good collaboration between us, the client, and our partners. WP Engine being one of those partners.
Right. And I think you definitely did something right because the results speak for themselves. Let's dive into the three challenges that we'll tackle today, and let's also share some tips. So the first challenge that we'll talk about is keeping up with client demands without hiring a huge team or tons of manual work. And I bet that sounds familiar to a lot of the people in the audience today.
Yeah, the key for us is that we're always offering value. This means that the customer feels like they are getting their money's worth from us and getting a good ROI. The results are key. At the same time, labor costs are going up, and we need to pay our greater employees. We also need to augment those teams as well. So costs are going up, and we have to grow the team. And new employees are expensive as well.
Right. And here's what helps according to our experience. So number one would be implementing different automation and optimization tools. So when you're managing dozens of client sites, manual performance work just doesn't scale. This is where tools like NitroPack step in that help you with automated caching, image compression, critical CSS, and more. This means no constant tweaking, no chasing core web vitals manually. One of our partners scaled from 20 to over 150 sites without growing their dev team because performance was off their plate. If you're still manually optimizing speed, you're leaving money and time on the table.
Yeah, one thing that we've done is template-driven processes. So building reusable templates for common website builds, Managing launch client because 80% of the work is already done. We have templates now at almost every stage of the client journey. Some of this includes marketing playbooks to attract similar businesses, standard sales processes so we can be predictable, proposal templates for our service offerings, onboarding client processes, project management templates for various types of projects, code templates for common accelerators for industries and various platforms, surveys and key performance indicators along the way, and of course, the must-haves for every web project. So we're checking all those boxes: performance, security, accessibility, SEO, and usability.
Right. And a lot of those often go hand in hand. The third way you can tackle this challenge as an agency owner is outsourcing routine tasks. When scaling, your team's attention needs to stay on strategy, client relationships, and revenue driving work. That means offloading repetitive, low leverage tasks like QA testing, content migration, or setting up staging environments. One agency that we work with at NitroPack uses a vetted pool of freelancers for every new site launch. Content population, form testing, and browser checks are all handled externally. This frees up the time of their in-house team to focus on custom development and upselling higher tier services. You don't need to build everything in-house to deliver high quality results. Document your processes once and let others handle the execution.
Yeah, in addition to outsourcing some of those things, we've also done a ton of investment internally for hiring and training. So at the end of the day, we're a services company and we grow by adding more people, but each person must become billable as fast as possible with as high percentage of billable time as possible. All of that time needs to be valuable for the customer. So we have to hire the right people and we have to invest in training those people on the latest and greatest in our industry and our target customer industries. We follow a very specific process for hiring, and we have an entire team called Eagle Academy dedicated to continuing education. They are part of the HR team, and we monitor and track training quarterly and yearly at each one of the employee reviews. We make sure the Eagle Academy team is an advocate for the employee to get enough dedicated time for training. So even though it might take away temporarily from billable time, we can be confident that the time that is billed is valuable, which is the most important for us in retaining clients. Okay, so the other thing that's a challenge for agencies is retaining clients while increasing project profitability. So scaling isn't always about getting more clients, it's about keeping them. The agencies that grow the fastest build long-term relationships and increase their customer lifetime value. Retaining clients is hard. Retaining clients and maintaining profitability when costs are rising is even harder. Here are a few ways we've been able to accomplish this.
Yeah, so the first way to achieve client retention is performance-based deliverables. Oftentimes, clients aren't paying for just a website, they're paying for business outcomes. So you want to shift from project-based pricing to value-based offers, faster load times, better core web vitals, higher conversion rates. One agency we know built a recurring revenue stream by offering performance audits and optimization packages. They charge monthly for maintaining a 90% page speed score. Clients see the ROI, and the agency locks in long-term value. Position your work around impact, not hours. That's how you move from vendor to strategic partner.
Yeah, we've implemented tiered pricing packages as well, giving clients options. Whenever we can try to offer a packages that are, whenever we can, we try to offer packages that have been proven to be successful and offer value. A basic package for small business, a premium package with SEO optimization, and an enterprise plan with advanced features. Upselling happens naturally. If we can have a set price for packages and behind the scenes be efficient, we have a nice profit margin for labor costs involved versus just billing on a per hour basis.
Right. Then something else agency owners can do is have a very targeted retention strategy in place. So client retention isn't passive, it's an ongoing process. And agencies that scale build structured post-launch touchpoints. So things like monthly check-ins, performance reports, and proactive upsells like SEO audits or managed hosting. One of our partners sends a monthly Core Web Vitals report with tailored suggestions. And this opens the door to ongoing work and positions them as a proactive growth partner, not just a vendor. Keep showing up with value, and clients won't shop around.
Yeah, one of the things we talk about a lot in our agencies is how to delight our customers. So our CEO is a big fan of Warren Buffett. So if you go online and search for delight your customers, you'll find a couple of videos by Mr. Buffett. But for what that means for us is our team knowing their business and not just their website. Understand and listen to their challenges, survey them, meet with them face to face is preferred, and offer free value-added services. So some of the things that we do is we do a lot of thought leadership, a lot of content. We do summits with our customers, regular sales and leadership check-ins as well. Make sure that we are keeping that relationship strong with our partners across partner customers across all levels of the relationship.
Right. I couldn't agree more that the relationship aspect of keeping clients is definitely very important. And the third challenge we'll talk about today is adopting scalable processes that don't overcomplicate workflows. So as you scale, the last thing you want to do is create chaos. You need processes that scale with you. And one way to do that is by implementing agile frameworks. So you'll want to work in sprints, not endless projects. Breaking your work into 1 to 2 week iterations keeps teams flexible.
I think we have okay, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
The next thing that we do is standard operating procedures. So the other brother in the company that owns the company, he's really big on aviation. And with aviation and flying, there's a standard operating procedure for basically everything that could possibly happen during a flight. And so we've taken that on and we've created standard operating procedures that document workflows for new team members for jumping in quickly. So we have a whole repository of these documents and templates and standards. Talked a little bit about that earlier, but in each one of the key leaders for each one of the roles in the company, they develop these standard operating procedures. Always modify them and look at them and constantly iterate as we add new team members or better processes. And we use them for training. We use them for employee reviews. We use them for project reviews, sales retrospectives, and even in client quarterly business reviews. So definitely recommend developing what your standard operating procedures would be across all different roles, responsibilities, and processes.
Right. And the last way that you can tackle this challenge is by implementing scalable hosting solutions. So partnering with platforms like WP Engine so that clients never outgrow their hosting and you don't have to deal with migration headaches. And now we actually get to the good part, which is my favorite part, and we'll hear from Jerry about what it takes to scale. Jerry, can you share a bit more about AmericanEagle.com, where you are today versus when you first started?
Definitely. So we're currently at about 700 employees. American Eagle is still family owned and operated. Our HQ is in the Chicagoland area, but we have offices and clients all throughout the US and globally. About 75% of our business is in the US and 25% is everywhere else in the world. So those little drop pins are all of the physical locations that we have, but we have employees really everywhere spread out throughout the US. And then in Europe, we have a bunch of locations in the UK, in Sofia, Bulgaria, and Hungary, and even in Morocco as well.
Yeah, and that's something you and I realized during our first conversation is that actually where you guys have your office today is the same co-working space that we used to have our office before. So
it's a small world in that regard, isn't it?
Than we realize, yeah, for sure.
And then we have a little timeline that we put together here as well with some of the key points. I kind of looked at our history and maybe like the top 10 milestones for when we scaled. So the company started in 1978, and actually it was Apple II software and networking that we were doing back then. And late 90s, like 94, 96, we kind of shifted to web development. One of our clients, the Big Ten Conference, came to us in late 96, and we were doing some networking for them, but they came to us and said, oh, we need a website. And so we're like, okay, well, we don't know what that is quite yet. We haven't done one of those projects, but we'd love to tackle it for you. And so they trusted us with that, and that's how we shifted our business from more of a networking and security company only to a web development company in '97. We're doing projects sort of the old-fashioned way. This was, WordPress wasn't necessarily what we were using day to day. We had some of our own technology, and we were building websites, and we did one website, then the next website we would use the last website we built as a starting point, vice versa, and always trying to be efficient and scaling. And then one of the critical points in time where we sort of went from just small websites to more enterprise websites is we were granted the contract for the Chicago Transit Authority, which is the transit company in Chicago. So that was a pretty significant and big project for us, and it really helped grow our brand in the Midwest. We also acquired a company called Sports Vision, and for those of you that watch American football, they were the ones that invented the first down line with the overlay on the TV. However, they also had a web business, and they wanted to get out of the web business, and so we acquired them. And with that came a lot of different sports clients that we had. And one of those sports clients, the Chicago Bears, also my favorite team, in 2007, they made it to the Super Bowl. And that was a big deal because it really taught us not only to how to build scalable sites, performance sites, it really challenged our team, but it really got us to an enterprise level of building sites. We also became PCI compliant at that point. And that was important because we were doing a lot of commerce opportunities as well. And so that was a big deal for us. And then in 2009, we actually got the contract for the whitehouse.gov site. And we launched that for President Obama when he took office. And then my role had shifted in 2011. I was a sales engineer around 2009. In 2011 is when we started partnering with other solutions. So Sitecore was one of our first partners, and that really took us to the next level in terms of growing American Eagle, because we went from just doing some of our own technology to now partnering with other people that had web technologies. And a couple of other milestones here. 2013 is when we started offering digital marketing services on top of web development. And then we started growing internationally. In 2019, we opened up our UK office and acquired our Bulgarian office in Sofia. And then a few years back, we reached 650 employees worldwide, and we opened up our office in the UAE.
And something that I find quite interesting is that actually you've had about 150 employees who have been with AmericanEagle.com for over 10 years, which I think in today's market is quite impressive. Do you have any secrets to share around that?
Yeah, I think we have a great culture that starts with our owners and it trickles down to our managers. So one of the things that we did actually 12 years ago is we had actually a rebrand and a refocus on our core values. And I think that was important in setting the stage for the culture, because ultimately, when we did that rebrand and we redid our values, we took the time to implement and make sure that everybody currently at the company and everybody new at the company understood those values and what they meant. And we used it as a guide for basically every decision that the leaders make and every decision that every employee should use when making those decisions. So it's in our DNA, and it makes sure that we're consistent. So our employees know what to expect of them, and we look for these traits also in new employees when we interview and hire. So ultimately, I think it's seemed like a small thing, but it ended up being a really important thing to set some foundations and some guidelines around making decisions and consistency.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit more about the training program you mentioned earlier?
Yes. So our training program is called Eagle Academy. Let me see here. Yep. Okay. Thank you. So we use it for onboarding for new employees. So it's a streamlined orientation structure. There's a Before an employee starts, the manager and Eagle Academy set up a 30, 60, and 90-day plan. And they set check-ins for those 30 and 60 and 90-day goals. Then there's a 6-month and a 9-month check-in with an onboarding specialist, and all of that is documented. And we also get feedback from the employee about their orientation, about their process, so we can continue to iterate that for other employees that may be starting in that same role in the future. We also set up meetings with all of the key subject matter experts in the organization. So, for example, with myself, monthly, I have a meeting with all the new employees that talks about our partnership program and our marketing team and our sales team. And so I educate them about all those different departments. And everyone gets to go through that presentation, and I get to meet all the new employees too, which is wonderful as well. Then the other thing that we do is every employee gets a mentor assigned to them. So they have a manager and a mentor. So sometimes it could be the same person, but a lot of times it's not. So that's an important piece as well, because that mentor can, they've been through it already, and so they can help guide them through some very important things. Eagle Academy also develops a ton of content, and they develop this content with the subject matter experts, and the subject matter experts include things like SEO, analytics, accessibility. We're working on some data privacy things, which are big these days. And then we also train them on some fundamental things, like we feel like everyone at American Eagle, in some regard, is a salesperson, right? So they're always building a relationship with the client, and selling how we can help them by helping them, and of course security. But there's a lot of also business training, how to fill out your time card, benefits that we offer employees, compliance, that we have to abide by for the different places we are in the world. We have an intranet, and so there's trainings on how to use that intranet, and all the other tools like Confluence, Jira, Salesforce for sales team members and other people that interface with Salesforce. So ultimately, there's a full library of continuing education that we're constantly building, and we're constantly iterating off of. So it's been a huge help to scale and grow, and to make sure that every new employee for their given role has a path for onboarding.
Yeah, I think knowing exactly what's expected of you as an employee really helps you go much further than you would have otherwise. Um, and based on what you shared so far, something that stood out to me is that you mentioned you've gone from 10 employees to currently 700. And I know this has been without any outside investment. And I find this quite impressive. Something else that I think is quite impressive is the AmericanEagle.com partner network. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of my current role. I've been doing this for this role for about 15 years. So we have about 250 official partners. Of course, those partners are various levels, various priorities. But there's 8 team members that work with me, that focus on really 2 main goals: finding the right solution to help our customers succeed digitally. So understanding their needs and finding which partners and which services that we have can really help them. And then my team supports all aspects of that relationship with that partner. So marketing, sales, enablement, escalations, and other things like that. And then the other goal that we have, which is also super important, is gaining the trust of the partners, in order to have them feel like we can service their customers. So it's been big for us in terms of business development as well. So this ecosystem of partners has really helped us scale and grow. All of a sudden, instead of like just the American Eagle sales team of 10 to 20 people, we could easily have thousands of salespeople basically selling American Eagle by recommending us as well. So WP Engine and NitroPack have been a great partners in that regard. So thank you very much. But yeah, the more we could recommend WP Engine, the more that we can talk to the WP Engine employees and their team and educate them about all the different services that we offer, the more likely they are to bring us into opportunities as well. So it's really on the business and the sales side, it's really helped us grow and scale our service offering, and then our basically all the people that know about American Eagle and can represent us.
100%. Thanks, Jerry, for sharing your experience. I found it very enlightening, and I'm sure our viewers did too. And now, while we are on the topic of technologies, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about two tools that help agencies scale efficiently, namely WP Engine and NitroPack. With WP Engine, reselling hosting isn't just an upsell, it's a game changer. Agencies that offer managed hosting keep clients longer and make recurring revenue without extra work. Plus, clients get security, speed, and reliability. On the other hand, nowadays site speed is a non-negotiable. So faster sites mean better SEO, lower bounce rates, and higher conversions. And this is where NitroPack steps in with automated performance optimization so that agencies can promise clients faster load times without spending hours tweaking settings. And together, these tools solve two of the biggest client pain points, namely reliable and scalable hosting and fast loading and high-performing websites. Both WP Engine and NitroPack have agency partner programs that you can check on our respective websites, or you can connect with me directly on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to tell you more about it. And I think now that was it for the official part of our session, and I think now we're going to jump into a Q&A.
Okay, perfect. It was super interesting, Jerry. I wrote some notes here. I even pinged my team there that the talk is fire. It really was cool to see what you guys have done over the past couple of decades. Yeah, and it's every point there is just like, yeah, I can see that. That's correct.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was easy, but no, it took a lot of time, a lot of effort. The team's wonderful, and yeah, no, I think ultimately we feel like we're just getting started too. So that's the even more exciting part, is the opportunity out there is great for us and everybody just in the space and in the WordPress community.
That's awesome. Okay, we're gonna jump into the Q&A. Just before that, let's hear a word from our sponsor. All right, so let's start with this one. As my agency scales, how do I determine when it's time to hire more people versus outsourcing tasks or automating processes? Are there any best practices for balancing this?
Yeah, so I can take this one. So one of the things that we do is when we try to grow into new services, new technologies, new service offerings, that's when we look to potentially outsource some of that work to folks that are potentially more experienced in those technologies. And the reason we do that is because ultimately we want to make sure that our end customers are getting the best value from that. And so, let's say, for example, if we were to take on a new project with Adobe, we may hire on a couple of Adobe experts to join us on that first project to make sure that it eliminates risk for our end customer, and we can learn from those experts as well. And ultimately, when we're beginning a lot of these new things, there isn't always enough work to keep any given employee busy full time for a given amount of time. So that's kind of like the threshold that we use. Do we have enough work to bill an employee full time for the X amount of time for that contract? And do we have enough time to build a pipeline to keep that employee that employee busy, right? So that's kind of a threshold that we use. The other thing is we're always looking at how we could automate processes, and some of the simpler tasks we also like outsource, where it's maybe harder for us to find someone when we can potentially outsource something that for someone in another country that may be a little bit more effective, or they have better processes for things like content entry or
Right.
other tasks like that.
Okay, that's perfect. I even think that from a smaller agency's perspective, a lot of times that is the threshold. Can you hire someone for that role? What we used to do is we used to outsource until we did, and then you hire internally and build up someone that can actually understand things on an ongoing basis compared to working with external providers. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and we always try to balance the team with new stuff in the beginning, so we have the right folks in case that new service line takes off, that we have the right folks that can be mentors for other people as they come in, and as we build these new service offerings.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's go to the next one that I have here, which is how do you handle clients who want constant updates but don't see the value in performance-based deliverables or the tiered pricing packages that you mentioned?
Every time I hear performance, my ears kind of perk up, so I'll take this one. And that's actually a great question. I would say it's always a good idea to start by setting the right expectations and educating your clients about the connection between performance metrics, like Core Web Vitals, and page load times, and their business outcomes, such as higher search rankings, better user experience, and increased conversions. I would say use data and case studies to demonstrate the tangible benefits. So you'll want to try and shift the conversation from immediate updates to long-term goals, highlighting the value of the work done upfront. And if clients remain resistant, you can showcase them the results from previous work to reinforce the value of performance-driven deliverables.
Okay. I agree with this for sure. This is exactly how to approach this. And Jerry, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll take the tier-based pricing packages. So, I think it can be challenging when we're us as an agency. We actually deal with a wide subset of different types of customers. So we work with upper SMB all the way to enterprise. So we have really small contracts, and then we have really big long-standing contracts as well. So you have to have the packages match the needs that the customers really want, and then the pricing that makes sense for them. So we're not going to talk about a staffing project on somebody that really just needs a simple web brochure website, right? And we're not going to offer a small website package to somebody that needs an expert on their team for a month. So a lot of that boils down to the qualification from our sales team, and recognizing what's important and what's going to be valuable to the customer, and not selling them a performance package when their needs are a little bit more on accessibility, for example, right? So qualification, it's listening to the customer. It's not force feeding them things that they're not asking you for, right? It's really understanding what their needs are, what their pain points are, and really trying to match the packages to what they need. And I think it's important to make the packages feel like you've done it 100 times, so they feel comfortable that you're going to execute it. They're comfortable that you know what you're doing, that you're confident, etc. Right? So I think those are some key things that we try to do to battle folks that challenge us on pricing or packages or our approach.
Yeah, I think that what you're describing is just coming with a set menu. Once you have that menu already structured, and you can communicate it effectively every single time, it makes dealing with these things a lot easier, because these are our boundaries. This is what we offer. It works, or sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and it helps us scale too, right? Because as we add new salespeople, as we add new account managers, as we add new project managers, if they can understand those packages and the expectations around those packages, then everyone's talking basically the same language.
Yeah, I love that. Perfect. We have a question for you, Svilena, here about NitroPack. Now that NitroPack is part of WP Engine, congratulations, by the way. Does that mean that it can't be used with other hosting providers?
So essentially, no, NitroPack can still be used with other hosting providers. And while NitroPack is now part of WP Engine, it remains a standalone plugin. It can be used on WordPress sites hosted with any other provider. And being part of the WP Engine ecosystem simply allows NitroPack to work even more seamlessly with the infrastructure.
Okay. Awesome. I have a question here that is a positive one from Taco. He's asking, who does one reach out to if they want to become your partner? I guess this is one for AmericanEagle.com, but also maybe NitroPack.
Yeah, for us, it's pretty simple. There's a form on our website to contact us, and we probably deal or get 4 or 5 inbound requests a month, or yeah, probably about 4 or 5 real ones a month. There's probably spam in the forums, and what we do is we kind of go through an onboarding process, understanding kind of what the offering is. We sort of have like a qualification questionnaire where we ask 4 or 5 questions about the product, the business, and then we set up an initial call, get some paperwork under our belt, an NDA, and then we try to bring in a subject matter expert from the various service lines to see where that solution or service offering may fit, right? So if it's something around analytics, we may bring some of our strategy team members. If it's a new platform, we may bring some of our sales engineers in to kind of take a look under the hood and understand where it fits in. And ultimately, what we're looking for is solutions that are like a win-win-win type situation, where it's obviously a win for our customers because it's something that offers value for them. And by the way, a lot of times we get new partners that are recommended by our customers because we haven't maybe worked with them. So we get those inquiries quite a bit as well, also from our staff members. And then the other win is obviously for the partner, and then the third one is obviously for us in terms of the business opportunity and the value that it offers our customers. So we try to make it simple, and we try to get back to everybody. So if anybody's interested in partnering with us, just fill out the form, and someone will get back to you pretty quickly. Yeah, we always love hearing from folks, and we always like looking at new technology, and being in the business for so long, every day we learn something new, and there's new things coming out all the time. And so it's important for us to understand all of those new things so we can bring that knowledge to our customers.
Okay, that's awesome. And is there some sort of a partnership program as well with NitroPack? I know that WP Engine has the agency program itself. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about this, Svilena.
Yep. So it's quite a similar process for both NitroPack and WP Engine. We have both of us, like both the companies, we have affiliate programs and agency partner programs. People can apply on our websites, and from then on, they can expect to hear back from us, or they can also reach out to me directly. Totally fine, and it's going to be a similar experience.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, I have one more question here. As your team grew, how did you ensure that culture, alignment, and performance stayed strong across departments and locations?
Yeah, so I think the key for us was really those. Well, number one was that brand, that reshuffle in terms of our brand and reestablishing, the core values, and then making sure that those core values were implemented pretty much everywhere in the organization, from hiring to employee reviews to training, and it didn't matter which office or which department. that foundation was always repeated for everybody. And then Eagle Academy, just making sure that that team, that HR training team, basically made sure that everybody was getting that same training and continuing education as well, right? So and it takes from the top. Our owners, two brothers that own the company, they're super passionate, they're super involved in the business, and they're very consistent. Speaking to them is very easy, and therefore the next level, the managers, the middle managers, and moving down, it's we try to be pretty consistent.
I love that. Is that one of the core values? Can you mentioning it like this, the consistency?
Family values. So family. So we have one of the values is family culture, and so customer first culture, family values, can-do spirit. So those are kind of some of the. There's 6 of them total, right? Customer first culture, passion, reliable partner, family values, teamwork, and can-do spirit and pride, right? So those are the values. And during every review, we kind of go through each one of those, and we ask the employee to give an example of where they felt like they brought out that value in one of the things that they did, and then the manager also does the same, and we document that. And if there's a challenge, or if there's something that maybe shouldn't have happened, we look and we measure across those values and say, okay, well, did you attribute passion in this one? Did you do truly what you thought was right by the customer here? And if not, let's correct that, and here's a potentially a better way to handle that situation.
I love that. I think that as a team scales, this is one of the core elements that sometimes people miss. But establishing a solid culture early on, even as a solo preneur, as a kind of, this is how I want to be perceived. This is how I want to kind of go about this. But it's definitely, as you're starting to scale, I see that being something that not everyone is considering. It's just like more focused on delivering the work rather than building the company, building the team that then delivers the work in that way. Svilena, I think you had a pretty similar journey over the past couple of years with NitroPack as you guys were scaling up. How do you maintain that?
Yeah. So over the past few years, I'd say it's been quite the journey for NitroPack. So I joined 4 years ago, and at the time, I think I was employee either number 20 or 21. And then by the time NitroPack was acquired in the summer of last year, we were a team of over 60 or 70 people. So in a few years, we tripled our workforce. And I think it's important to empower each employee with ownership and to have them very involved and engaged so that they can feel responsible, but also really passionate about the work that they do. And I think luckily we've been able to maintain a lot of that now through joining WP Engine.
That's awesome.